Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sharp, St. Andrews class of 68, and welcome to the Rocks and Razorbacks podcast. Here, we feature conversations with remarkable alumni, teachers, and administrators from both Middleton and St. Andrews high schools. This is a great way to share meaningful stories and keep our memories alive of growing up in West Ashland. Now for today's show.
Andy Gowder, Scott Peeples, and I are great Middleton friends with busy lives, but somehow we managed to meet up monthly at Waffle House. If you look closely, you can find us in this 1979 Key Club yearbook picture. Today, Andy's a successful attorney, active in the ABA, and Scott's a College of Charleston professor and author. Really, both guys' accolades are too long for this introduction. I asked them to meet up with Neal Kinard and I at Poe's Tavern on Sullivan's Island. Besides great food, it's the appropriate place to be. I'll let Scott explain. Guys, I can't thank you enough for joining me here at Poe's Tavern, and we got to get started on why are we here. And Scott, please share with everybody your interest in Poe.
Well, I've been studying Poe for about over 30 years now, and I've written a few books about him. So this is a place that I guess just about any time somebody's in town who knows me from that world, they want to meet at Poe's Tavern. So I'm kind of not exactly a regular here, but I know the place pretty well.
What rooted your interest in becoming a Poe aficionado?
Well, I've always liked Poe. I mean, going back to when I was a kid, I remember my older brothers and sisters who could actually read, translating the plots of Poe stories to me to scare me, and which was a pretty easy thing to do. I mean, guy kills a man and dismembers him, buries him under the floorboards, and then starts hearing his heartbeat, or guy chains somebody to a brick wall and then walls him up.
I think I need a drink.
That might be a good idea.
Cheers.
So,
cheers, guys.
So pretty attractive stuff to an 8-year-old, and I guess it just stayed with me.
Well, it's taken you all over the nation and beyond.
Yeah, I've talked about Poe in a lot of different places. Russia, Spain, France, all over the States. Poe has treated me pretty well.
Thanks to Poe's Tavern for hosting us. Yeah. Andy, we're both class of 79.
Yes.
Over at Middleton. Okay, 81 for Scott. He's the youngster of the group right here. Okay. We got Neal back there on camera, class of 86, of course. Well, he's maybe the real youngster, I guess. You went on to become a successful attorney. You've specialized more like in the green side of environmental type of law.
That's fair.
Okay. How did all that get started for you out after high school?
I was a late adopter for law school. I went to college thinking I would be a writer or an English professor.
You chose well.
Yeah, well, and sort of at the last minute, I kind of put in an application at some law schools. Lucky enough to get into a good one. Went there, and it was just a fortunate accident almost that I ended up doing something that I really love doing. I didn't know any lawyers growing up. Didn't know anything about it. In fact, when I went to I looked at the courses that I would take in my first year, and one of the terms, I didn't even know what it meant. I had to go into the law library and look it up. So, but I was completely green in terms of the law, but it's been a great profession for me. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it and continue to.
That's awesome. And this podcast and documentary is about mainly how to keep our memories and legacies alive. In our case, it's Middleton.
Yeah.
Like so. Looking back, what comes to mind that maybe helped make you the person you are today Scott, I'll get started with you. Anything come to mind way back when? Now, haven't been lucky to see a lot of yearbooks of you both, and to see us when we were younger, and the steps taken to get to where I think you guys are so successful today.
I mean, I think just having teachers at Middleton who were true role models for me. I still, all these years later, I still think about Mrs. Almond all the time, and some of the things that I remember from her classes, and just sort of the way that she handled students when we were kids and we were just kind of figuring things out. Even teaching college, there's a lot of that too, and I just, I think I learned a lot, even though I didn't realize I was learning a lot about teaching when I was in high school. I absorbed a lot of what people like Mrs. Almond and Mrs. Kelly, Mr. Griffing, some of my favorite teachers were doing, and it really stayed with me.
I had some really great teachers at Middleton, and excellent professors in college and in law school, including Scott's brother, Ralph, who was a professor for me in a couple of classes in law school, which was kind of a cool thing. But I'll say the single most influential person really probably in my life, other than my family, my parents, was Ms. Almond, because she, I like to say, sort of grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, sort of halfway through my high school career and told me, okay, these are the things you're going to do. And I remember at a college fair that we went to at the Gilliard, she took me over physically to a booth where the guy from Wofford was there, which is where I ended up going. I probably would not have applied there other than that. And just all of the example that she, that she gave, and the energy that she really had for all of her students was amazing, and really quite an influence on me.
I think also just, kind of the confidence that she and other teachers showed in us was really helpful. I mean, you kind of actually thought, okay, I might be able to handle college. I might be, even though I was, screwing up right and left in high school, that, grabbing you by the scruff of the neck, which Mildred was particularly good at, that meant a lot, because it was because it was always supportive, and it was always sort of in the spirit of, I believe in you. Yes. You can do better than this.
Right across the hall from her was Mrs. Harvey, who again was
senior English.
Senior English, very influential with me. Great teacher. Of course, I loved literature anyway. I majored in English in college, and she was a terrific teacher and a terrific sort of role model. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I enjoy both those teachers. Christmas Almond was like AP, Western Civ kind of thing like that. I'm afraid my history with her, I mean, I did fine. I did very well, but I've always been the type to cut a joke here and there, and I think Miss Almond maybe didn't appreciate it as much as I thought she should have.
I'll bet she did. She just didn't let on. The other thing that she taught that Scott and I both participated in a great deal was speech, arts, and theater. And we both did a lot of things. I remember very fondly, like Arsenic and Old Lace that we were both in, which was a whole lot of fun, and a lot of our friends were in. So that was a good time.
Andy was in the Cary Grant role. I was Peter Lorre.
You had the more interesting role.
Well, in my day, I think if I could get away with it, I would, and I usually did, is get away with asking the teacher if I could make a film about the topic instead of a paper. And the psychology, I got a yes, and I believe it was Miss Almond, if memory serves. And my psychology one went over really well, except I left the film on the school bus on the way home, and the next day I was told it was demolished, unfortunately. Yep, something to cut.
But here you are.
your extracurriculars were so important, according to like Jim Atkinson and Rusty Davis and others like Dr. Olson. And so they stressed that, and somehow students seemed to fall in line and join that, and it seemed to be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took them beyond just the school books in the classroom.
Oh, it was probably equally as important to me, all of those things, as the academic work. I mean, the things that we did after class was over, you know, like the theater, like speech, like, you know, the various clubs, Key Club, all of those things, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to make the basketball team, so I had to do something.
Right, exactly.
Our beginning, I remember Mrs. Miller, sophomore year.
Yes.
And somewhere along the way, we both discovered we liked the films or filmmaking.
Yes.
I can't quite remember. But the next thing you know, we decided to write a script together.
Yep.
And if I remember right, literally it was in class, passing like a legal pad through the crowds. I'd write a little bit, work to you. You'd write a little bit, work to me.
Yep.
During class, and I don't know how we got away with that.
Right, and it was at the time in the afternoons when you got home from school, they would replay all of these 50s and
syndicated TV shows.
Yeah, and so at the time the Elliot Ness and the Untouchables was on, and so you and I loved it, and that's what our script was that we were writing during class.
It ended up being the Return of the Untouchables.
Yes, it was.
We're racing off to spring Big Eddie, who was in the clutches of the law after being caught once again selling burned-out light bulbs to blind people. A crime so disgusting, the editor of the Chicago Sun-Times and 14 anonymous telephone solicitors demanded Eddie's immediate execution and deportation.
And you know what? It was actually shot on black and white Super 8 film, and it turned out really well. I mean, considering my early films, I didn't know what I was doing. It could be out of focus or over or underexposed, that kind of thing. And so, but that actually worked out very well.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of classmates in the film. For some reason, you think I would know better, is we're like writing dialogue for film that has no audio.
But we knew what we were saying.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Try to recreate it on cassette and then time it when you play it, like so. But anyway, really good times.
Could be the only depiction of Elliot Ness on film wearing braces, which I was doing at the time.
I think one thing that hits me is no matter all the years have gone by, right? Is when you look back to like who are you closest to, it's for me it was the high school kids. And if you ever have a problem, an issue, those are the ones I look to share with. You know, after all of them college, great. Living in North Carolina a couple years, different jobs, video jobs, whatever, great. Back to Columbian TV, okay. And then next thing you know, just felt like home coming back to Charleston. For me, 1990, like that. And then 1996, I see Scott Peeples walking on the streets of the College of Charleston. You joined in 96, is that right?
Yeah, I actually had taught for a year at CFC 94, 95, and then got another job, and then I came back to the college in 96. It was wonderful kind of having that connection, especially after, we hadn't seen each other since high school at that point.
For me, I got to teach at night after hours from my job, and that led to other teaching, which was just really, really special, but also reminded me of Middleton and those teachers as well. I'm amazed how, looking back, these people who were so influential were so young, and that's just really hard to fathom. Of course, when we were there in 76 to 79,
Yep.
So the school was only 6 years old.
Right.
Like so. We all appreciated what they brought to the table and everything, but looking back and realizing just how young they were is almost a little surprising.
And I don't know about you, but I had no idea. I had no idea how young the school was or appreciated it. I had no idea how young our teachers were.
Yes.
Either, looking back on it. Yeah.
like Old Lady McMillan, just like so young, and we just didn't realize that. Like, I think we all respected the teachers, no matter what their age were.
That's right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But it was a different time. I mean,
Yeah.
high schoolers could drive buses. We had, I wasn't participating, but we had smoking areas around the gym or whatever. And just a different kind of a world. Now, the documentary will tackle a lot about nostalgia.
Okay.
And in fact, I interviewed a CFC professor about nostalgia. Great young lady, Chelsea Reed Short. The joy of nostalgia, bringing flooding back memories, but also that twinge of negativity of it being, it's gone. Those moments are gone.
Yeah.
But I think it's a universal topic that we all can appreciate, no matter what school you went to. And I think the documentary, we'll talk to Neal more about this as well, was about having the more of a take on nostalgia as opposed to the pros and cons of school merging and consolidation.
Right.
What do you think? Do you think the nostalgia aspect is something worthy of exploring? You're an academic who's just barely drinking. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I study or anything, but I do. I mean, I think about the ways that, just selective memory, and I really only think fondly of our high school days now. Somewhere, if I think about it, I know that at the time I wasn't always, happy. There was plenty of frustration and heartache at that time too. But I never think about that anymore. I mean, I really just think about the friendships and the thing, and being in Arsenic and Old Lace with Andy, and being in Middleton Singers, and the stuff that I can really look back on fondly. I guess everybody does that. I mean, we want to, we want to have that as kind of this comfort zone of memory. But it does probably require filtering some stuff out that at the time might not have been so great. But don't ask me what those things are, because I've conveniently filtered them out.
How about yourself with nostalgia? Do you find yourself leaning in that direction of appreciating those days, those memories?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Scott in a way. I mean, I have good memories. I don't know. I think memory and nostalgia are different. I see nostalgia as being sort of, in a way, more superficial than memory. And so I have really good memories. I also, like you, have probably gotten rid of a lot of the negative memories, although some of them are still there. But I mean, I like what I'm doing now too, I am excited about what might lie ahead. So, I don't know that I am nostalgic as much as I enjoy the sort of the good memories that I've stored up.
Can't help but remind us, that the schools have gone away, and now the physical building itself is about to be bulldozed.
Yeah.
Does that have any meaning to you both, as like if you were there to witness it, for example?
I'd like a brick.
Apparently I'm the guy.
I don't know. I don't know what it would be like to. I haven't been to the campus in decades. I don't know what it would be like to walk around. I mean, I would like to, but I just don't know. In terms of the physical space, I mean, I still remember the gym pretty well. I still remember air-conditioned classrooms in weather like this, and like Mrs. Vale, who taught psychology, who was also one of my favorite teachers, who had, always had a couple of box fans on the floor because there was.
She loved my film.
I think the only rooms that were air-conditioned were the library and the office.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I actually have a hard time picturing very many of the physical spaces at Middleton. It's more, it sounds kind of corny, but it's more people. It's more friends and teachers that I have more vivid memories of.
Come on, Andy, you going to be there?
What, when they tear it down?
You're an environmental attorney, so
Well,
maybe you should be there.
And not only, that, and I also am on the board of the Preservation Society as well, although I don't know that school is one that it would necessarily...
It was St. Andrews Junior.
Well, I was just going to point that out. It's not, Middleton High School was not the first, user of that building. Again, we kind of go back to memory, right? But it's not the same place. Those same people aren't there. We're at different places in our lives. And so, I'm okay with, that school, as I remember it. Not sure it would be a lot of fun to watch the wrecking ball, take it down. But I recognize that, those things are sometimes necessary.
I did have some folks offer to tailgate.
I don't think I'll be there for that.
What can we do to preserve these stories, these memories? For example, Olympia High School in Columbia has like its own little museum. They shut down in 1970, and they still have a little museum, and the caretakers are super nice retired folks getting up there in age, I have to admit. It's a nonprofit. I'm not advocating for a museum, but I do know that, for example, in our case, some of the trophies are over at West Ashley High, and they're kind of hidden away a little bit, a little too dusty, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, technology may come into play a little bit.
I think it would be great to have essentially an archive for some of these physical objects, that like the trophies, like the pictures, like the yearbooks, like
Thanks for this, by the way.
the pennants.
This is from you and your home.
Yeah. Athletic gear, whatever. So it'd be good to have a place to store those things and other, physical objects. But, a really important thing that we could do, Tim, is what you're doing.
Yeah, I was going
which
to
is
say.
collecting these stories. And that's I think the most impactful thing is to ask people to tell their stories and to save those.
I don't think that was our intent, but I think it's becoming...
No, it's true. You're creating a real archive with these podcasts. I think it's really important.
This should hopefully last many, 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 many years, being the digital world. Neal's working on a website for Rocks and Razorbacks.
Great.
rocksandrazobacks.com, but don't go there yet. That's what it's more editing. I see more editing. That's right.
But you can see the construction that's going on.
Neal, will this help with the website?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. That's right. Well, great. Is there anything that you guys would like to bring up or talk about? Just kind of going where the conversation seems to take me.
So one thing I was going to ask you, as you're talking to people from Middleton and St. Andrews, now it's sort of, we're all kind of collectively remembering the good old days, but do the old animosities ever resurface? Because one thing I do remember is we hated St. Andrews. Our pep rallies were the 2 minutes hate out of 1984. That was just visceral back then. But now that seems silly. But
That'll have to be a teaser on the next podcast. Okay.
But has anybody talked about that? About just sort of how intense that rivalry was back then?
Apparently, the Hog's Head was something that happened pretty often, every couple years.
Well, actually, at the Middleton St. Andrews game.
Yeah.
Right before that.
Right.
Yeah, some Middleton folks would go over and paint their rocks red, and we would get delivered a hog's head at the school. Yeah.
Thanks for watching today's episode, and be on the lookout for additional episodes. If you'd like to be a guest or even a host in the Rocks and Razorbacks podcast, please let us know. We want the podcast to be the go-to place for cherished Middleton and St. Andrews memories. Don't forget, the Rocks and Razorbacks documentary geared for South Carolina ETV is in production, and we'd love your input and help with that as well. For now, go Rocks and, go Hogs. Well, you get it. Thanks.